Nita Overby. And my maiden name was Keeney. In the beginning, you know, we were bombed by the Japanese, and I was in my senior year, and I walked a half a mile to catch the bus to go to school at Indiana. And down at the corner were two neighbor boys, so we'd try to get there early so we could talk. We'd talk about the war. Boy, they could hardly wait to get out of school so they could, you know, help in the war. Everyone, there was such a good feeling. We all were so patriotic. And my plans, I wanted to do something for the war. We were just really anxious. The boys were going to join up, and all of us girls had places to go where we could help. It's just different these days. Somewhere it got all lost. But anyway, we had the good spirit. So he insisted that I try coming to Oklahoma City. And living on the farm, I'd hardly been to towns nearby, much less Oklahoma City. And I didn't even know how to ride a bus. I didn't know you had to put money in there to ride the bus. But they brought me up here and found me a good place at Mrs. Morrison's rooming house. So that was the beginning of my work at Douglas Aircraft at, I guess you'd say, Midwest City. And I didn't know it as Tinker Field at that time. We just knew it was Douglas Aircraft, and it was C-47s, and they made cargo planes. Right. I was in production control, and we had booths along the assembly line, and mine was called the fuselage department, and we would make up what the workers would use for the day, including their boats. And, of course, they'd get handfuls of rivets, but it would all come from the sideline of our department. And we were really busy. It kept us busy because they were fast workers, and it had to be so complete. And I really enjoyed it. I did. And I worked the swing shift. And the hours, you know, I was thinking back, I think they must be from 3:30 to, was it 11:30? Because the graveyard came on at 12. So somewhere in there. It was a full 8 hours. Oh, yes. My first day, I remember this. She was a school teacher from Edmond, and her name was Esther Hildebrand. And, she made my day. I went in just scared to death to know if I was, could do the work. I didn't know what kind of work I was going to do. So, but she made me feel so comfortable, and she really helped me. She was a real kind person, very kind. I'm so glad that I had her, especially because she was sort of the mother type and just so good and friendly. He said, now, you'll have to wear special clothing. On the farm, well, in those days you just wore dresses. We didn't have what you call slacks or pants like we wear now. Anyway, so my sister got me a nice little outfit. It looked like, you had to wear pants and a top. And be sure and get something and get all your hair covered up in this bandana. So here I was on my first day, and my brother-in-law told me that he'd read in the paper or heard by the grapevine that there was people's scalps hanging on the poles out in the plant where the machines they weren't carefully covered and the machines had sucked them, and that just scared me to death. So, boy, I made sure all my hair was tucked in this bandana, and I put elastic on my pants, I was really protected, and it wasn't like that at all. So there I was, and I know the one that first saw me, my main manager of the whole department. I noticed him grinning, and I thought, oh, my land, he's going to send me back home. What's wrong? So he explained to me that I didn't have to wear that bandana, and I could take the rubber bands off, that it wasn't that bad. Maybe some parts was, but it wasn't that bad at all. I thought that's kind of funny. It is to me later on when I thought how stupid I was, how silly. There was no scalps hanging on posts. Beginning of when women's lib, see, we could do it, and I had never did that kind of work, and a lot of other people hadn't either, especially worked in a factory. You actually took the place of men and boys, but there wasn't enough. So the women pitched in, and that's where we get our muscle, you know. We do our muscle like that. But I'm glad I had that opportunity. I really am.